Hello guys, it's Teenage DC Fan back with another video, and a couple nights ago, the Season 5 premiere of Supergirl aired, and now I'm doing a review for it. So this episode is titled Event Horizon, and let's jump right into the whole Catco thing that's going on there. So there's this lady, she's named Andrea Rojas, and she bought Catco. So before this, Lena owned Catco, but then she sold it to Andrea Rojas, and Andrea, she's a very bossy boss. She's actually the owner of her own company as well, and this company is called Obsidian North. And like this is like a super high tech company, and it's like they develop these contact lenses that people can put in their eyes, and then it's like a VR system. So it's like like if you've ever seen or used VR, you know how they have like the big goggle things, but in the show it's like just contact lenses, and it looks like a lot less complicated than the way it is in real life. But maybe someday we'll have it to be actually like that. But anyway, so she has this big company, and Kelly actually starts working for this company. If you don't remember who Kelly is, she's James' sister, and also Alex's girlfriend. So yay for them. But then, so like I said, she bought Catco, and she is changing everything. She thinks that the news and Catco media should be all about clicks. It's all about how many clicks you get on the website, how many people read your newspaper. And this represents one of the things I like the most about this show, is that it relates to the real world and what's happening right now. So, of course, in the real world right now, everybody is obsessed with social media and like how many likes they get, how many subscriptions on YouTube you get. I mean, like, yeah, I love that, but I mean, I'm not obsessed with it, because, I only have, like, 50, I think. Not bad, not good either, so, I mean, yeah, but enough about that. So, like I said, it's very reflective of the real world, and then they don't make it super obvious, so it's not like, in the real world, people have problems with this too. No, they make it very subtle, and I like that. So Andrea is all about the clicks, and she's changing everything, and she's like, it doesn't matter if it's the truth or not, we're doing it just so we can get the clicks, and she's basically all about clickbait. So that's her deal, and of course Kara's mad about this, and James as well. So then they're like, well, if this is how you're gonna run our company, then we'll just quit on you. But then Andrea points out that apparently they signed a 3-year contract, so then if they quit the company, or like if they just leave the company, then they won't be able to work in the same like industry of working for the next 3 years. And when it comes to journalism, if you don't do anything for 3 years, then your career is over. Of course, they all love journalism, so then they decide to not quit, and they keep working there. So then Kara writes a paper, or like an article or whatever, and then Andrea introduces her to William Day, and he's a new journalist, but apparently he was working for like other journalist companies, and he's like a super famous journalist and writer. So then, when she meets him, like, she's being polite, like, oh, I love your work so much, your work on this was so great, and stuff like that, and then he's standing there, and he's just correcting her after everything she says, and then it's revealed to Kara that William deleted her whole paper, and he's rewriting it for her. Now, Kara won a Pulitzer Award. That's for, like, the best of the best journalists, and Kara is, like, on a Lois Lane level right now. But then this guy comes in here, and he rewrites it for her. and that's what Andrea wants, because apparently you can't have details and more than one side to an article, because they want it to be biased, basically. So this whole thing is messed up, and, Andrea, she's definitely a villain. She's not, like, a super villain because she doesn't have powers or anything, but she is definitely a villain. Now, speaking of James and his job, he decides to end up quitting the job, because this isn't what he wants, this isn't helping people, and this isn't what he believes in. So he wants to keep doing what he believes in, and if he can't do that at Catco, then he'll find some other way to do that. So now he's currently unemployed, but maybe he'll just be full-time guardian now. I don't know what else he'll do. I don't know, maybe he'll go back to Metropolis, possibly. But he can't be a journalist or work in photography or anything like that anytime soon. Now, we do know that he is leaving the show at some point this season, so I don't know if this has something to do with that, but we know he's going to be in at least a couple more episodes, so I don't know how that's fitting into everything. But then, on another front, we have Brainiac 5, and Nia Knoll. So they are officially a couple. Well, I think it was official before, but I mean, it's like officially official now. So, they're glad they're together, but then you notice that, like, every time she tries to, like, put her arm around him, or, like, hold hands with him or something like that, he backs away. Like, it's like he doesn't want public affection or whatever. And, at first you think he just doesn't like public affection, and he doesn't want to be seen doing that with her. But then he ends up confessing the real reason, and apparently it's because back in the last season, he got, like, taken over, and because he's basically a robot, and he, like, got manipulated and was, like, a douche to her, and, like, really mean and a jerk. And even though that wasn't him, he feels so bad about that, and he feels that if he gets close enough to her, that if that happens, something bad will happen to her, and he doesn't want to let that happen. But then she assures him that, it's alright. He can never hurt her, or something like that. Honestly, I don't know. But then they end up having their first kiss, so that's cool. I mean, they go straight from a nice handshake right into the first kiss. I mean, skipping holding hands and hugging and all that stuff. I mean, skip right to second or third base. I mean, when you talk about, like, bases of relationships, like, first base, second base. I mean, like, everybody has their own opinion on that. I don't know where you rank kissing in there, but I mean, he made it to that base wherever you rank it. But anyway, so that's it on that front. Now let's get into the Martian Manhunter stuff. And this is the part that I'm most excited about, because Martian Manhunter is my favorite character on the show, or should I say John Jones, because I just think he's really cool. So, of course, in the last season, we saw that his brother showed up, and he was talking to the Monitor, so that's interesting. And then we do see his brother's return in this episode, but I'll get into that later. Because first, at this museum, I think it's like some kind of Kryptonian museum, or like, I don't know what type of museum it is, but it has like Superman's pod, the Phantom Zone projector, and stuff like that. So then this little girl walks up to one of the displays, and then somehow she, like, there's a little action figure of like a T-Rex. Somehow she makes that come to life. So we got a giant T-Rex on the loose. Supergirl comes in to stop it, of course. But then the little girl escapes with the Phantom Zone projector and Superman's pod. So then later on, we see that she opens up the Phantom Zone and she releases Midnight. So Midnight is actually pretty cool. So we see Supergirl and the whole team fight Midnight, but Midnight's super powerful. I mean, she literally opens up a black hole. Supergirl and her team of super friends are actually able to defeat her pretty easily, but like I said, there's a black hole that she creates. So then Jean gets sucked into that black hole, and then Supergirl, Kara goes in to save her. I mean, him. Yeah. So then, Midnight is defeated, and then we see the little girl who was watching this whole time. But then later on, like, at the very end of the episode, we see, Jean, in his shop, or wherever he usually is. And, then this little girl walks up to him, and of course he's like, "Oh, are you lost?" No. Because then she shapeshifts into her true form, and that was her brother. His brother. That's right. Jean, a.k.a. Martian Manhunter's brother, was disguised as a 6-year-old girl this whole time. Yep. So then, he's like, "I am your brother." And then, of course, Jean is like, "What? I don't have a brother?" But that's what he thought. So, yeah, it turns out he has a brother. But then, Jean is like, "Prove it." So then they go, like, full force at each other, trying to kill each other, basically. And then there's, like, this huge force of energy that just explodes. And then they're all, like, sent flying backwards. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, so then that's what happened there, I think. But I'm really looking forward to seeing this, because I love the character of Martian Manhunter, and it seems like the next episode is going to be heavily featuring Martian Manhunter and his whole story arc here. I'm really glad to see this, because in the last season, or honestly the last couple seasons, we haven't really been getting much with Martian Manhunter. Well, honestly, we haven't been getting much with J'onn J'onzz either. Like, the little we do see him, he's rarely ever Martian Manhunter. And I get that because, you know, it takes a lot of CGI to do that. But, I mean, Martian Manhunter is the reason I watch this show. So, yeah, that's cool. And, if you've watched the animated movie Justice League Doom, there's some other kind of Martian Manhunter character in that that's like an evil Martian Manhunter, and he's part of the Legion of Doom. I don't know if that's supposed to be his brother or not, but that's just the guy that his brother reminds me of. So I don't know if it's the same character or not, but let me know down in the comments below if that is the case. But moving on to the final storyline, the whole Lena Luthor stuff. And man, she's gone psycho. Like, super psycho. I used to think she was hot, but now she's, you know, like, evil. And now I think she's twice as hot. I mean, like, damn. So, yeah. Lena. Yeah. So we start off the episode with her, and she's doing this simulation where she has powers, and she ends up killing Supergirl. So she's using those, eye contacts with the VR stuff, so she uses that to do the simulation. And then she's talking to this thing called Hope, which, it reminds me of Gideon from Legends of Tomorrow, and it's basically Gideon, but her name is Hope, and it's like a computer that talks to her. And I have a feeling that this robot is going to end up, like, super evil. Like, Lena will probably come to her senses and not be evil anymore, but then Hope will still be like, "Kara, Supergirl, is evil, I must destroy her," or something like that. So, you know, yeah. But anyway, yeah, so Lena hates Kara because in the last season she found out that Kara is Supergirl and that Kara has been lying to her this whole time. But then Kara goes to talk to Lena for, like, they meet up to have lunch together, and during that part they just talk about how Lena sold the company. They don't actually talk about any of the Supergirl stuff. But then later on, this is when the big stuff happens. So, like I said, Kara won a Pulitzer Award. But there was this ceremony that they had to go to for her to accept her award, and she gets there, and she finds out that that Lena is the one that's introducing her and stuff, and you think she's evil at this part, so you're like, oh, she's going to expose her, and it's gonna be crazy and stuff. But then right before that, Kara ends up telling her that she is Supergirl. And of course, Lena already knows, but she doesn't let Kara know that. So Kara still doesn't know that Lena already knew. But, at this point, Lena's like, oh, I forgive you. I know you were lying to me this whole time, but you always end up telling the truth no matter what. And then she repeats that in her speech. She says, like, even though the truth is sometimes hard to find, Kara Danvers is always able to reveal the truth, no matter how long it takes or something like that. And then she accepts her award. And at this point, you think that she, things are good between them. But then later on, Supergirl arrives at L Corp, and, they're outside on the balcony, and they're talking about how she's been lying to her this whole time. But of course, Lena's still acting like she's good. But then Kara flies away. Lena walks inside, starts talking to Hope, and she's like, I will never forgive her. She broke my heart. And so, that's pretty much where it leaves off. So, do you think she'll end up exposing Kara as Supergirl? I don't know. But before I end this review, I would like to talk about Supergirl's new suit. So that's right, she's got pants. Yes, Supergirl has pants now. Of course, before she had the skirt and everything. And I thought the suit looks awesome, but one of the best parts about it is that Brainy created something and put it on her glasses, so that as soon as anytime she takes off her glasses, her suit just forms over her body. It's like the nanotech that Iron Man has in the Avengers movies. So that was really cool. And like I said, she has pants. I really like the suit because it looks like it's basically a Superman suit. Like it's all blue with the red symbol, red boots, everything. It looks good. It really does. And she's got a cool cape too. So yeah, this is pretty cool. But that's all I have for this episode review of Supergirl. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And hope to see you in